Let's get it. Alright, welcome to Childsplay with Sam Kim, and today we're joined by Joon, Ahjoonma, the triple threat comedian, actor, emcee that's been making a huge splash from out of his box. Hilarious skits from Quarantine and Chill and Ahjoonma while featuring on CNN News, representing the dirty South Atlanta, A-Town down, you feel me? You can find him on IG at Joon Lee Comedy.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I love that you're on the show. Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me as your first guest, by the way.
No, for
what
sure,
an honor.
Man. I would say it's an honor to have you. You know what I mean? As
a
Korean American.
I'm here before you blow up, man.
Yo, trying to be like you. You know what I mean? But let's jump right into it. So tell me about your childhood, man. You're from Georgia. So tell me how you grew up.
I'm from Guam.
Oh, you're from Guam? Out the country.
I was born in Guam. That was kind of my fun fact growing up.
Okay.
But I moved to Georgia when I was 4.
Gotcha.
And so I spent a huge chunk of my childhood and just early adult life in Georgia. I spent 22 years or so in Georgia, and now I'm in LA.
So do you know multiple languages because you lived in Guam?
I'm bilingual. I mean, Guam is still U.S. territory, and I grew up speaking Korean and English in Guam.
Gotcha.
And I wish I could speak more than that, but
no, for sure. No, that's all good. So tell me about how you were growing up as a child. What kind of person were you?
As a child, I was pretty goofy.
Yeah.
I was the class clown.
Oh.
There was a period in my life when I was in first, second grade. I would get timeout every day, almost every day.
Yeah.
So my classes had one class had a green light, yellow light, red light. Everyone started on green with a clip. Yeah. And I got to the point where I would just skip yellow. Uh-huh. Yellow was the warning stage. Right. I would just go to red.
Straight to red.
And some days I would be the only name on red, and it was pretty embarrassing. But to kind of dive into that, the reason I justify it was it was worth getting in trouble if I could get a laugh from the class.
Right.
If I could make someone laugh, that feeling was my high when I was a kid.
Gotcha.
That was my drug.
So it's kind of meant to be for you to make other people laugh and make them feel happy.
At a young age, at a very young age, I realized I had that talent, I had that skill, and so I really honed in on that.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So I know you chose comedy, right?
Yeah.
Coming from Georgia, how did your parents first react? As American Asian parents, they want us to be either doctors, lawyers. You know what I mean? So what did they say to you first?
It was so tricky and weird. So my dad was always kind of more supportive than my mom.
Okay.
My mom, it was a very, very tough and long conversation.
Yeah.
And it's weird because they would gas me up, and they would say stuff we would watch this very popular Korean broadcast called Kegamen.
Okay.
So it's like a live. It's kind of like Korean. I can't even give that. SNL almost, but it's like live performances on stage.
Gotcha.
And so that was my favorite show growing up. And then my parents would always be like, "Oh, we could see you doing this. I think you'd be good." Yeah. And I would get excited, "Oh yeah, I want to be a comedian." Right. And then my mom was like, "Wait, relax. What do you?" And I'm like, "Wait, time out. What?" She's gassing me up, but then the second that I'm getting hyped up and excited, she's like, "Oh no, I have to kill it. I have to kill that flame. I have to kill that fire."
Yeah.
So it was a constant conversation. Anytime I would get into a conversation with my parents about wanting to be a comedian or a musician or something, I played guitar or any type of dream that I had, she would steer me back and be okay, but let's be practical. You're not gonna make it. You're not.
So I guess at what point did it all change for them to be supportive?
I think with a lot of Asian immigrant parents, unfortunately, you need receipts. Right. You need something to vouch. You need something to show.
Monetary form
or some sort of thing. Yeah, right. And I still remember the distinct moment where my parents, especially my mom, kind of came around was there's the biggest K-pop event in America. It's called K-Con convention.
Yeah.
And so I got invited to my first K-Con.
As a host?
As an MC for
a
few segments.
Right.
And that was the first time I got booked to fly out to a different state.
Okay.
And I purposely shot a YouTube video just because it was a first cool experience.
Right.
But not a lot of people know this. But the main reason I shot that vlog was not for myself, but it was for my parents.
Right.
It was for
Just
my
to
mom.
kind of
I
see,
just wanted
like,
to show
the
her like,
experience.
this is like what I'm doing,
Yeah,
and it's such on a big scale.
Uh-huh.
And when she saw that YouTube video, I think that really changed her perspective.
That's
and
good.
One story I'll never forget is, so there's this thing called like 구역예배,
Uh-huh.
and so like where they have gatherings at people's homes, and
Right,
so
right,
it was
right.
my family, like they had a gathering at their house, and I was living with my parents. I was leaving the home to go hang out with some friends, and as I was putting on shoes, I heard a video playing in the living room, in the dining room, and it was my YouTube video. It was from KCON,
Yeah.
the YouTube vlog, and my mom was like showing her friends.
Right,
and
right.
it was that moment I was like, oh, she's like proud of me.
Right.
She was like showing off to
Like
her
she could
friends.
show up to like
Yeah.
church homies, like, you know, like
And then-
mothers and everything, right? No, I feel you.
So that was like a really cool moment for me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, what was, I guess, your mindset when you started choosing to be a comedian? Like, how did that transition change? Like,
So the thing is, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed enough to say that I knew what I wanted to do since I was 4.
okay.
I wanted to be an actor, comedian, just entertainer.
Right.
That was like my first dream. And in school, you write out like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right,
a lot of
right,
kids
right.
write fireman, you know, like doctor, nurse, or something like that. But I wrote comedian, and my teacher was like, well, that's unique.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. But it took a very long time where we can get into all that.
Of course.
I came full circle. I took a very practical route, but I mean, I've always just known, but I ran away from it for like 20 years.
Right.
But
Because you were thinking practically, right?
I was thinking very practically, and I wanted to give up on it. But I think that's one thing about like your dream. It just that's something that just never really leaves you when you just know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always in the back of your head, itching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to where you are now because of that, right?
Yes,
The journey.
for sure. Yes, exactly. So I don't regret anything.
No, for sure.
I don't consider anything like a bad experience, bad moment.
Right. So during the journey, I guess, is there any time where you felt like you were gonna quit, or like, yo, I gotta pack my bags, go back to Georgia, or I'm in Georgia, like, yo, this isn't it. I gotta get my 9-to-5 corporate job.
Yeah, I think I'm in such a great place right now, and such a relatable place for probably a lot of people that either watch my stuff or just even like listening to this or other things, because I'm still, I guess, on the come up. I would say I'm nowhere where I want to be.
Right.
But to answer your question, there was a period when I was in Georgia and maybe college or something like that, or even post college, I wanted for about 5 months. Every single night before I went to bed, every night I was like, oh, like just quit now.
Right.
Like why you're wasting so much time. And to kind of give context into that, after I graduated, I went to New York for an internship, a really good internship.
Right,
it was
right,
and then like 2 weeks into that internship at an advertising agency, I knew this is not what I wanted to do. And I didn't get the job offer, to no surprise. I came back home, I worked at a startup, and then after a year, I got laid off.
Got it.
And then I had money saved up, and I was feeling very insecure about that. Financial stability. I was at home, and then I was just like pumping out videos. But yeah, during that whole process, I wanted to quit every day. And despite what people see on Instagram and my videos, and comedy, humor is my comfort zone, but I can be deeply insecure.
Of course.
That's something I'm trying to battle, even until now.
Just like everyone else. No, for sure.
Right,
Everyone has their battles,
exactly,
right?
right.
No, that's what's up. It's good that you're truthful about that, you know what I mean?
I think, yeah. I mean, I definitely want to kind of normalize and bring that up in conversation more. And I'm trying to, not for anyone else, because I don't like to define masculinity for anyone else but myself. So for myself, I'm trying to redefine masculinity and what that looks like, and just kind of breaking the whole fragile masculinity thing, and just like being more upfront about your insecurities, and just being more just vulnerable.
Right.
I think that's really manly.
Right.
I think that's sexy. You know what I mean?
100%.
And so that's what I'm trying to practice inside.
Right. I definitely think being able to show your emotions and talk about your emotions, right, in a very comfortable way, and at the same time be accepting of others, right? Because we're all all of us are on a different journey, right?
Exactly.
And we're living this life for the first time, so we're all gonna make mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
So like I definitely understand where you're coming from for sure. So what would you say like is the hardest part about you being a comedian?
You know, being a comedian is tough in the sense that there are so many funny people out there, especially in the world of content. Especially nowadays that there's like TikTok, there's just so many platforms. And I see so many up and coming, you know, kids or people that have been in the game. And it's very easy to get self-conscious or insecure about like, oh, there's people like far funnier and more creative than me. And, you know, I always have to like stop myself when I see a really funny video.
Right.
I have to like kind of check myself and pump the brakes when I find myself being too insecure about it. Like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. Why couldn't I thought of that?
Right.
Because I have to stop myself and remind myself like, oh, there are things that I've come up with that were super creative that no one else could have come up with, or you know what I mean? It's just like the whole struggle of like comparing yourself to your peers and people around you.
Like even for myself, I would say like I even feel behind even in technology, you know, because like I don't use TikTok, you know, and now TikTok, it just blew up.
It's blown up,
You know what I mean? So it's just like little nuances where like kids play certain app games, you know, and I'm just like, how? Like, what does that even mean? Like, you know, like Bumble, Tinder, all of that, you know? I'm just like, oh, I thought it used to be Tinder. Now it's like everything you could imagine, you know, like Bible Christian school, like let's get together, like farmers dating app, you know? So it's just like, it blows my mind how fast like technology, you know? And then especially with that, it gives a platform for like every child and every human to express their creative minds, right? So that's, you know, so I would say, my biggest, I guess, question that I really wanted to know is just like, what is your biggest failure, right, so far that you felt? And then what did you learn from that and how did you maneuver?
One of my biggest failures that I just touched up on was like my job experience post-college. I felt like I was working my whole life towards that moment. So I studied advertising. I majored in advertising and I minored in communication. And right after college, I got a really good internship, like I said, at a really good agency in New York. And so I was like, oh, this is it. My life is gonna be in New York. I'm gonna, you know, work my way up this ladder and just grind it out and be really successful. And like I said, 2 weeks in, being an account manager, intern, I hated it. I saw like what goes into it. I'm like, this is not, I can't see myself doing this for the next 20 years. I'm miserable 2 weeks in. And I was like, sure, maybe I'm just an intern, maybe it'll get better, but I was like, this is not what I want to do.
So how long was that time period?
It was a summer. So it was a summer internship.
So as soon as you graduated, it was that summer internship?
As soon as I graduated, so I was just really, I felt secure. So that was I felt very comfortable, secure that I landed something right away. It's like your first job out of college, your parents are probably so proud. And they were proud, and it's like I got validation from my parents.
Of course.
And the thing is, I felt like I think a lot of kids can relate that there's a lot of negative reinforcement. You know, when you do something good, then they award you, and then they're proud of, then they love you more. But when you know you don't necessarily get the grades or get the job or do what they expect from you, and then it's just like they're not as proud of, they don't love you as much. So that's what it feels like as a kid. So getting that internship, I felt very validated from my parents. And so when that didn't work out, I felt pretty bummed out and got a little insecure and self-conscious about that. I came home and I got a job at a startup. And long story short, I got laid off from that. So that was like, I was very insecure about that. You know what I mean? And and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to tell people that I got like laid off.
Of course.
It's a long story, but...
No, I understand, of course.
So that happened and it sucked.
And it hurts people's pride,
It hurt my ego so much. But looking back, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. Yeah. I think it's your laptop. It's fine.
Yeah, that's my bad.
That's fine.
So,
but yeah, so like that, looking back in hindsight, that was the best thing that could happen to me. So after getting laid off, like I said, I had all this free time and money saved up. And so that's when I was like on a real creative high. Probably one of the biggest and longest stretch of a creative high. I was just pumping out content.
And this is when you were in Georgia or in LA?
This is when I was in Georgia.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So this was around 4 years ago.
Got it.
3 to 4 years ago. And I was pumping out content, and I finally uploaded something that blew up, and that was like my big viral moment. That it started everything.
So how long were you in Georgia doing comedy before you moved out to LA?
I've been doing comedy or entertainment, performing since I was a kid, like in church. Right. Like a lot of Christmas skits,
Got it.
when churches, the youth group, when they go on retreats, part of the program is they have a day where they get into groups and they perform skits, and then like the best group wins.
Like the dances and things, right? Of course, where there's like 20 churches coming together.
Exactly. And of course, one of my coolest moments was there was a huge conference where all of the major churches from the Southeast got together, and it was like the biggest retreat. Yeah. And my group won that skit because like that was my comfort zone. I was like the director, like the actor, and I was like coordinating with everyone. I was like, all right, like directing everyone. Right. Usually there's like a leader, like a high school, college person. That's of course. But I was like, no, I got it. Don't worry. Yeah. And then they're like, oh my god, like what the, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I love that. Right. And that's where I just like really thrived. Right. And so I think that church community, like black community, the choir, that really fosters a lot of musicians, a lot of artists. Yeah, for sure. I think the church community within the black community is huge, and for likewise with like a lot of Asian Americans, because the parents end up going to church, especially in the Southeast, as a sense of community, to meet other Koreans, to meet other Asians.
That is true.
And so through that, I fostered a lot and curated a lot of my skills as an actor today, as an entertainer.
Gotcha. What church did you go to in Atlanta?
I grew up going to, I went to a few, but I went to Sean.
Oh, yo, shout out to Seon. Yeah. And shout out to Yeonap too, KCPC.
Yes, I never went to KCPC. I knew that was like a big one. Right. And then back in Marietta, I went to Seongyak. Okay. Where there was a couple basketball tournaments that a lot of the church came to.
I remember, in Doraville. Yep. Okay, so tell me about you moving out to LA. So I know you had like a very interesting journey out here.
Yeah, so the way that happened was very sporadic. A buddy called me at midnight and said, hey, my lease is ending this month, May. Right. And I know you've been thinking about moving to LA. Do you want to potentially room together, like find someone else and find a place? Got it. And I've been thinking about moving to LA for like a couple years. And I told myself that year, 2019, I'm going to seriously consider moving to LA. And then that conversation came up. And 4 days later, I told my parents I'm moving.
Yeah? And you just packed your bags and went?
And then, for that month, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I was just like packing up, figuring stuff out. And then I drove my car by myself from Georgia to LA.
Yeah? How long was that trip?
I did it in 3 days.
3 days?
Which is insane.
That's fucking insane.
I usually, that's good for 2 people. Right. I did it by myself. 3 days, 2 nights. So the first day I drove 14 and a half hours.
Straight adrenaline rush at that point.
It was crazy.
Yeah. You wanted the sunshine.
I mean, that was like, I thought that would be very poetic. My first accomplishment going into LA. The fact that if I can do this by myself, then I can do anything.
All right. Okay. That's what's up. That's a good mindset, honestly. So like, I would say like, when you started your career, right, as a comedian, looking back with like IG and everything, like what's one thing that you wish you knew before you started?
That I'm the shit. Like, I say that lightly because I have so many self-esteem issues. Okay. I wish back then I knew that I had the it factor. Right. Just a little bit more confidence, a little bit more self-esteem. Right. That I got what it takes. And to stop being so in my head about being insecure.
So a lot of self-doubt in a way.
Yeah, right? And I think that's one of the biggest factors and the biggest traits of any profession, but especially in the entertainment industry. You've got to like be in tune with yourself first. Right. And you got to be confident and comfortable with yourself. And I think if you can even just address and be comfortable with your insecurities, like you are miles ahead of your competitors. Yeah. So I wish I just stopped comparing myself at an early age.
Right. Yeah. I definitely think that's something that everyone battles with, right? And have to overcome themselves, in their own life journey, right? Right. So like for any young comedian that's coming up, obviously they know who you are, they want to be like you. What's one advice that you would give them as a young comedian person that's starting their own Instagram page,
sure,
that wants to be creative and be different, what's your advice to them?
No, I like the fact that you said like be different and wants to stand out. And this is gonna sound counterintuitive, but one of my best advice in order to get there is copy. Not in the form of like biting someone's style or anything like that, but your role models and your influences, like copy the hell out of them without crossing the line, without being disrespectful, because it's so hard to find your own voice as an artist.
Right.
It's so hard to find what makes you unique.
Got it.
And so when I started out, I mean, I modeled my humor a lot with like David So.
Got it. Oh, David So.
Yeah,
comedy.
so
Okay.
I watched him a lot. I just modeled a lot after him. But my brand, I don't curse as much like that. And he has his own brand.
Right,
and through that, I was able to just make minor tweaks and adjustments along the way. And now I'm much more comfortable in my skin. And this sounds a little weird to say, but my brand is me. Just like everything that makes me, the way that I act, all my little nuances and intricacies, that's my brand. And that's what makes me special, and that's what makes me different from anybody else out there.
No, because I could definitely tell like the involvement through your videos. You feel more comfortable in your own skin, the way you talk, even the language, right?
Right.
And you said before you don't curse, but at the same time, like you use your own verbiage in a way where it's your brand. It's who you are. And
I don't think about it, because it's just me.
So
I don't think about the things that I'm saying or the way that I talk. But it all, I guess, kind of portrays through my skits and the stuff that I do. And I guess that kind of makes me stand out from other creators out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I know you did a lot of interviews, you know, you've been hosts, MCs everywhere. So what's the best compliment you've received and why?
So recently I got to do a CNN interview.
Okay.
My first international. And so like that was a crazy moment.
Right.
And just hearing compliments from like the producers at CNN and saying I felt very natural. And like for an international interview being broadcast around the world.
Exactly.
They said I was a natural. They wanted me back. So that was like a really cool moment that I'll never forget.
And you're talking about BTS, right?
I got to talk about like my Korean culture, and just be just my normal Korean self, and so that was so cool. And also I recently got to interview BY, a Korean rapper called BY, and this was one of my first celebrity interviews too. And he said that this was one of the best interviews he's had.
What question did you ask him?
I asked him, I think the question that got him, the question that really stumped him for like 10 minutes was, because he's a Christian. So I asked him, if God was sitting here instead of me, like if you were sitting next to God right now and you had 5 minutes with him, what's the one question that you would ask him? And he was blank for like 5 minutes. He was speechless. He was like, oh my God, no one has ever asked me that.
Interesting.
And he said that was one of the best questions he's ever been asked. And so that was a cool moment.
No, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was really dope.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Just to have someone on that caliber, right?
Exactly.
That gets asked millions of questions, probably answered the same questions every single time to the point where he rehearsed it, right? For you to be able to like stump him.
I threw him off.
Threw him off, you know? It was probably like, oh my God, like I never even thought of that, and I'm a Christian. You know what I mean? So that's fucking cool. Yeah. So what was the first skit that you've ever created?
Man, that's so tough, because I created a lot of videos growing up. Even if I didn't like upload it, or even if it was through like Facebook or just like on YouTube, like very privately. I did the first video that kind of went viral. I recorded with my friend. We did a lip sync video of Avril Lavigne. Complicated. Got it. Because I'm very expressive with my facial expressions and just my body language. And you know that accumulated like 7,000 views on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm viral,
living,
like, I'm famous."
Right. But now looking back, you're like 7,000. I get 100,000.
Oh my God! But I mean, back when one of the most viral videos on YouTube was the two Chinese guys doing the Backstreet Boys. That lip sync. Yeah. And so that was so funny to me, and that was one of the first videos where I was like, "Oh, people outside of my circle are like watching this." My immediate like Georgia circle, like I'm getting random strangers commenting on this. I was like, oh wait, wow, that's so cool. People are watching me. Yeah.
So some of your skits like juxtapose. Skip that. So How did you find some of your actors, and are they your friends? Like, how did you find them to be part of your skit? Like, how was that all process working out?
A lot of it is just like naturally, I mean, organically, like friend of a friend.
Right.
You just meet people through other people.
So a lot of like collaboration kind of thing?
A lot of collaborations, and through collaborations, like, oh, hey, like meet my other friend, or like, I think you guys could work together. And especially like moving to LA, I wanted to network and connect with a lot of people, which I did, which was really, really cool. And yeah, some people just like reach out. Sometimes I reach out.
Sick. Okay.
But my closest friends aren't actors. Interestingly enough, a lot of my close friends just different industries, different fields. But I think that's also really nice to just like have a circle outside of that too.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, you know, I would say like with coronavirus that's happening now, right?
Sure.
It's affected millions of people, you know, made them unemployed. It makes businesses who work hard every day to close down, and it's not even their fault, right?
Yeah.
But for me, the way I saw your IG platform, because of coronavirus, it made you think outside the box.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So like, can you explain more towards that? Like how you got creative, what you created from that experience?
Yeah. I mean, at first when the pandemic hit, there were only negative reactions.
Right.
And I say this very lightly because, yeah, some people got hit really hard. Some businesses and families got hit really hard. So condolences to them.
For sure.
But from a professional setting, for my career, I tried to make do with my current situation. And I think that's all you can really ask for.
Right.
And what can you do with the given situation, and how can you kind of maximize and capitalize and make the most out of it.
Right.
And so I was quarantined at home, and I had all this free time to make skits, and I had less of an excuse now.
Right.
And so I was just trying to make more content, and I love hosting. Okay. And I've always liked to do like a dating show. I've always wanted to do something along those lines. Right. So I started my own IG live dating show, just for fun. Yeah. And it ended up becoming, I did it for like 15, 16 weeks and still going.
For Quarantine and Chill, right?
Yeah, it's called Quarantine and Chill.
Shout out to Glenn. You're
shout
funny.
out to Glenn.
Stop messing with Anna.
Yes, Glenn is a pivotal part of the show now.
Very pivotal, for sure.
He just provides just a different perspective, and it's just very refreshing.
His ad libs.
It's so good.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, me starting that show was I never knew where it would take me, but I just was writing it out, and it brought me other opportunities too, which is really dope.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So can you talk to me about your upcoming Twitch series that you're doing? Yeah,
so now I'm kind of pivoting from the IG Lives to Twitch.
Okay.
Because I just think that there's more room to grow.
Got it.
And expand, and just more functionality. So I still want to host a dating show, like Quarantine and Chill, on Twitch now.
So you want to do it live?
Yes, it's all live.
Nice.
And so I still want to bring people on. So I just started, so I'm still onboarding, still getting familiar with the platform. And I think there's just a lot of things I could do on Twitch.
No, for sure.
I'm comfortable in a live setting because I MC a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so
it definitely shows the growth. Yeah. Because you're going from like edited version to now live, right? So it's just everything's on the spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, that is also one of my comfort zones too. So I'm excited to see where Twitch takes me. It feels like I'm taking a couple steps back right now because I have to kind of start from scratch and build my Twitch following, and so I have a lot of concerns and thoughts about that. Okay. But I'm just trying to just buckle down and just trust the process.
Right. Consistency is all that matters.
Right. And just trust that my Twitch will grow, and it'll be even bigger than my Instagram live for the show. For sure. So I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
So from Quarantine and Chill, with the success of that, I know you started a collaboration for a YouTube series.
Yeah.
So,
so Jubilee, a big YouTube channel, reached out to me because I got connected with the founder a little while back. Awesome. And he's familiar with Quarantine and Chill, and they were starting a new dating series too.
Got it.
And so he reached out to me to see if I wanted to be the host.
Got it.
So they had to pick between a few candidates, and I got chosen. And so, I mean, fingers crossed, if all goes well, they'll continue it. They just released the pilot, episode 1.
Got it.
It got a lot of positive reviews, and especially like on my end, they said I did a good job.
Right.
And so that was really cool to read and see. And so if all goes well, I'll be hosting my own dating show on Jubilee.
Got it.
And I will be the face of that show.
Got it. So it'd be like episode 2 and 3, right?
Hopefully it's a series.
Yo, everyone,
please tune in. Your
share,
views. Yes.
comment, subscribe.
Yes.
You know, help a brother out.
It's really it's critical.
Very critical. Very critical. So tell me, so as you said, like who the most influential people were was like David So, right?
I wouldn't in that life stage, he was one of them.
Okay.
Growing up, some of my biggest influences, I grew up watching stand-up.
Got
a
it.
lot.
Oh,
I was introduced to stand-up at a young age. So Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, a lot of black comedians, and especially growing up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Just there was a lot of black comedians and just artists on the rise. And like growing up listening to hip hop, like I love like Eminem, and just like the grind of like a rap artist and like their life journeys is kind of crazy. Coming up from nothing. And one of my biggest influences is like Donald Glover, Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
I can confidently say, with no exaggeration, he's a modern day Renaissance man.
Oh, that man can speak.
He can do everything. The fact the fact that he's a Grammy Award, Emmy Award, and he has like his own Netflix special. What can he not do?
Exactly.
He can sing. He can act. He can dance. He's funny. And so I would love to be like a multi-dimensional actor, entertainer. You know, that's super cool. And some of my Korean influences, Hwang Jung-min is one of my favorite Korean actors. But yeah, I love him.
Interesting.
I think
I wouldn't have thought you would have said that.
Hwang Jung-min. Yeah. There are a few people I've met that like that's their favorite actor. And,
interesting.
I love him so much from Shinsegae, New World.
Yeah, New
World.
Oh my
God, he is
fire.
So badass.
Fire.
Because he can play like that very wholesome, nice guy. Because he has like that charming smile.
Right.
But he can be kind of scary.
Right.
And that versatility.
Right.
And
you can change it up real quick.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
So if you could remove all barriers, right?
Sure.
Financially, whatever. What is one project that you would want to work on?
So something that I had to drop. Funny you mentioned that. Something that I had to drop that I started in Georgia.
Okay.
That I would love to bring back into production is I started my own game show.
Got it. Oh, the All Stars special, right?
Atlanta All Stars.
I remember that. And
so no one take my idea. You know, do what you want to with this.
He'll add me to the show, Atlanta All Stars.
And so I think I was one of the few people that adopted the idea of bringing the concept of Korean game shows and Korean variety shows
to the American world.
To the YouTube world, to the American world. And no one was really doing that and giving it from a Korean American or Asian American perspective.
Right.
And so at the time, I did like 5 episodes just with friends, and it was cool. It was really fun, but it's always been in the back of my mind. And I do want to eventually bring it back when I can.
So you kind of want to do like a Running Man, but like English American version.
Exactly.
No, I definitely could see. I could see that.
Oh man, I think that'd be fun.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
I mean, it's so fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would love to do something like that as a long-term project.
What's the tall guy's name on Running Man?
Hwang-soo?
Yeah, I could be him.
He's so.
Call me Groot, bro. I could be Groot.
He's so good. I love Hwang-soo.
Yeah, for sure. So if you could hold on to one memory that you've had so far forever and look back on it and be proud of it, what is that one memory?
Man,
I know you have tons.
Oh, no.
But if you were to choose one.
You know, like the CNN thing is really cool.
Yeah?
The fact that I was able to have a live interview. Not a lot of people can say that. Even like a lot of like A-list get to have an international live interview opportunity with CNN. And so that's just something that was really cool. The fact that the world got to see me. Whoever was tuning in that morning.
Exactly.
It just really objectively pulled me out of my small circle and just it made me think outside the box and just think that, you know what? Like I could potentially have a global reach.
Yeah, you could.
That's the goal. Yeah. Why limit myself to Georgia? Why limit myself just to like LA or California? Why not aim for just being an international superstar?
Why can't you be Kevin Hart? Right?
It's people always like made that comparison. Maybe it's like the Asian Kevin Hart or whatever.
Yeah.
But
like why not?
Why not? Why not?
You might
honestly.
as well reach for the stars and at least get the mountains, right?
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah. That's what's up. Okay. So you know, just to like wrap things up, you know. So here, you know, at Childsplay with Sam Kim, you know, so we have a vision here to always dream your wildest dreams. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Where do I see what? So my long-term goal right now is Hollywood.
Okay.
Like I said, I want to be on the big screen, and I think I can do it. And I would love to, hopefully one of my small steps is I would love to be featured on one of the major streaming platforms, Netflix, Hulu,
Gotcha.
You know, Amazon Prime, HBO, whatever. That's my next big goal, to have a feature on that.
So do you want to do like a drama, or you want to be like a host, like Asian Bachelor host, or
I really want to dive more into the acting.
Okay.
And I love drama. A lot of people don't know that about me, but like I think I could do serious roles, and that's the whole plight of a comedian.
Of course.
They want to be seen more as just like a funny guy that cracks jokes all the time, and so yeah, that's my thing too. I would love to be taken seriously at times and showcase my serious side, my dramatic side. I love drama, and I don't say this too often, but one of my long-term goals is I would love to be the first Asian late-night talk show host. Like late nights with Joon.
I could see that. I could see that happening.
The Letterman, the Conan.
No, I could see that
happening.
The
Leno. And so to have my own late-night talk show host, I mean, that would be wild.
Right. I honestly think for you, like where you are and the path that you are in, I think if you keep being consistent and keep striving, you know, and believing yourself, like, dude, I think that's the least of your worries, to be honest. You know what I mean? I think that, like, genuinely speaking, I think when people view you, they see an authentic person, you know, and they see that, yes, views is nice, yes, instant gratification is nice, but you're bringing happiness to people during a time of pandemic, or not even during a pandemic, when they're sad. Or even when they're happy, you know, you're bringing that sense of like joy for that couple of seconds or minutes in their life that could change their entire week. You know what I mean?
Dude, what you just said is crazy, because I actually want to go back. One of the best compliments I ever received to what you just said, it reminded me. Yeah, one of the best compliments I ever received that I'll never forget is once I received a DM that I think I posted a while ago, but this girl was saying, I was about to commit suicide this week. Right. Like, I was about to pull the trigger.
Got it.
And I came across, I don't know if she was already following me, but anyways, she's like, I was watching your videos and I was just like going down your page, and you were one of the pivotal reasons for me not to go through with it. Right. And I will never forget that.
Yeah, that gave me tingles. Bro.
It gave me chills, and I quite literally saved a life. Yeah. And that's the power of comedy. That's the power of humor and entertainment. Right. And it validated me in my journey. I was like, no, we need people like this. We need more creators. We need more actors and entertainers out there. Right. Because, you know, there's things about me that a doctor with 10 years of knowledge and experience can't do. You know what I mean? Exactly. You know, I'm not trying to like compare or anything like that, but man, hearing that and receiving that, it just brought me, it really humbled me, because I was so fixated on like how many comments, how many likes, how many views I'm getting. But I'm like, no, I literally made someone's day or changed someone's life.
And compared to comments, like you've actually saved someone's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's fucking nuts.
I wouldn't trade that for anything. Right. That's priceless.
Yeah. No, that really is. No,
that will stick with me forever.
So, you know, after everything's done and, you know, we're 6 feet under, right? There's something with the tombstone that says Joon Ahjoonma, right? How would you like to be remembered as?
I think you actually touched upon this earlier, but I just want to be known, hopefully, as someone that was authentic and just like true to myself, and hopefully I can be someone that's comfortable in my insecurities too. Got it. Just to help give an example that, you know, like even the giants have their battles and insecurities. Sure. Right. And I just want to be known as someone like that, because I want to just set the example of how far authenticity can take you. And you'd be surprised that if you have a little bit more self-esteem and confidence in yourself, and just you're like, oh no, I'm kind of a badass. Like I'm kind of dope.
Right.
Like I'm kind of awesome. How far that can take you.
Right. Because no one believes in yourself but yourself.
Yeah, and you are your biggest critic.
Yeah, you are.
You really are.
You really are. Yep.
And I think everyone has a certain characteristic, trait, or physical quality about them that someone else is coveting. Someone else is looking at you right now and it's like, man, I wish I had that specific trait or quality that this person has. So you need to acknowledge that about yourself.
Right.
That there is an it factor about you too.
And I feel like you have the it factor now. I feel like I've seen a quarantine and chill video and a guy literally bought the same glasses as you.
That was such a cool.
He was just like, yo bro, I got these because of you. And I was dying laughing because I was just like, yo man, this man just changed this guy's style, you know? And that was so funny to me, you know what I mean? Because it was the exact same glasses.
And his name is Joon.
Really? His name is Joon? That's fucking hilarious.
His name is Joon, and he's like, yo, I bought these glasses because of you. I'm like, yo, what's up, son? And he's older than me too. Right. Oh, that was really cool. That was a cool moment.
So, but anyways, I appreciate, you being on the podcast.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It was great speaking to you, and I hope, the listeners got to kind of see your journey from where you started to where you are now. And hopefully, as for them, when they see the struggle, they could see it and say, it's child's play. Why? Because they heard your struggle, and now when they face the same struggle, they'll know what to do and how to react.
Yeah. Just embrace it, man.
Just embrace it, right?
Just embrace it. Just go with it. And for real. Thank you I'm honored to be your first guest. I'm excited to kind of see where this goes.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll come back and have some updates for you in the future.
For sure. Yeah. Hopefully in the future episodes, when new things come around.
When I'll be back to promote my Netflix special. We'll see.
Late night show with Joon Lee.
Give me 15 years.
Right. No, I believe it'll make it happen. But I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
For sure. So we just finished our interview between me and Joon, and now we're gonna go to our second part of the piece, which is the skit, Playground Full of Knowledge, where we're gonna do a TikTok dance.
Yes, of Nuna by Jesse, a recent video that I just uploaded.